Okay, now let's discuss the question number 16. So I have already written the question number 16 here. Now let's start doing the question, right? So we have the toluene. To that we are adding halogen in presence of a Lewis acid. So we have two types of halogenation is possible there on an aromatic ring there. Allylic or benzylic here, aromatic ring. That is benzylic only possibility is there. The second possibility on the normal halogenation on the ring there. So benzylic versus the normal halogenation there. How to distinguish between these two? If halogen in presence of a light, you can directly go for the benzylic bromination only. The second way, if you are given with the NBS, N-bromosuccinimate, that bromination also indicating the benzylic bromination only. So in this case, we are using a Lewis acid only. So it indicates the normal bromination on the ring only. So A will be, it is ortho and para, but para will be major due to the less sterically hindered position, right? So what about the answer of A? So A will be here the one CH3 and here the bromine comes, right? Now we are adding magnesium in either, that is the formation of Grignard reagent. So B will be CH3 MgBr. To that we are adding the carbon dioxide, C double bond O, double bond O. We know that the Grignard reagent, this is a trick. This part you can consider as a plus. Now the carbon which is directly connected to the magnesium you can consider as a negative. This is the trick. So after this pi bond shift, carbon will be having a positive charge, oxygen will be having a negative charge, and thereby you will be getting here the CH3 to this negative charge, the positive charge the carbon, both will link. And this becomes O, to that MgBr will be there. Now next step, that is the hydrolysis only. So here comes the O minus, this is plus, to the minus H plus will attack, and finally you will be getting the answer like this. So here the CH3, here the C double bond of OH, the byproduct will be MgBr OH. So this is the correct answer. Thank you. Okay, now let's discuss the question number 17, 17, right? It is based on the Ellingham diagram only. So what about the Ellingham diagram? We are plotting a graph by taking delta G0 versus temperature there, right? So there are some mandatory rules for Ellingham diagram. You have to take 1 mole of oxygen only, always. You cannot take 2 moles or 3 moles. You have to always take 1 mole of oxygen. That is a rule only. Now we know that whenever the value of delta G0 increasing, spontaneity increasing, we know that, right? For example, simply I will take a graph like this. This is delta G0. This is temperature. Imagine simply I am putting minus 1500, simply I am putting minus 1400, and etc. like that. Negative quantity only, right? Means negative quantity decreasing means the value is actually increasing only, right? Suppose I will get a line like this. This is, imagine, A plus O2 giving 2 AO. Okay. Now this is the graph showing B2 plus O2 giving 2 BO. Okay. Now there is a point of intersection, you can feel that, right? So I'm putting the temperature. Imagine that is 500 degrees Celsius. Okay, that is 500 degrees Celsius. So from this it is clear that before 500 degrees Celsius, which is having more spontaneity, definitely A2 only, right? Because A2 is having less delta G0 negative, right? Means that is the quantity is less, negative quantity is there. Means As far as the negative quantity is concerned, this A2 plus O2 giving 2AO is having maximum negative delta G0 value, correct? Before the 500 degrees Celsius. So what is the meaning of that? So before 500 degrees Celsius, if you take A2 and you are introducing on the BO, A2 will take the oxygen from the BO and forming in the formation of AO. Correct? That is, the oxygen is removed from the BO. And A will undergo oxidation. And BO will undergo reduction. But what about the after 500 degrees Celsius? Now you feel that which is having more negative value. Now the BO becomes, it is having more negative value compared to the AO. So after this point, if you take B and introducing on the AO, B will take the oxygen from the AO and resulting in the formation of 2BO. So this is the key point. Now you are given with a diagram from your picture. It is clear that now you go for that. They are asking the incorrect statement only. So which is the incorrect statement? You take the option D. Both the carbon and carbon monoxide can reduce FeO below 800 degrees Celsius. Right? That is an incorrect statement only. You just find out the graph of that CO, that is 2CO plus O2 giving 2CO2 graph, as well as FeO graph also you take that from that Ellinger diagram. This is the key point. You just apply the key point on that diagram and you can feel that that is an incorrect statement only. And also you prove the remaining three options there. Why they are not incorrect, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, now let's start the question number 18. So question number 18 is based on the Freundlich adsorption isotherm only, right? So what about the Freundlich adsorption isotherm? The amount of a gas adsorbed by the adsorber, that is X by M only, right? So X by M is directly proportional to pressure at constant temperature. So we have three conditions there, right? At low pressure, this is the condition, right? So X by M is equal to K into P, correct? What is X by M? The amount of gas adsorbed by the adsorber. What is K? It is a constant. What is P? It is pressure. Now, at high pressure, that is after the saturated pressure, the amount of gas adsorbed by adsorbent is independent of the pressure, and thereby we can put X by M is directly proportional to P raised to 0. It is independent, right? So X by M is equal to K into P raised to 0. So now the pressure is ranging, that is the moderate pressure, that is at moderate pressure, we know that X by M is equal to, is directly proportional to P raised to 1 by N, correct? That is where N, it has to be greater than 1 because it is pressure is ranging from 0 to 1 only. So the possible values of P is ranging from 0 to 1. That is why I told you N, it has to be greater than 1. Then 1 divided by greater than 1, it is ranging from 0 to 1, correct? So X by M is equal to K into P raised to 1 by N, where N is greater than 1. So this is known as what? Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Now you can also plot a graph by taking the log. So log X by M is equal to log K plus 1 by N log P. So this is you can take as Y. This is you can take as X. This will be the slope. This is will be the y-intercept. So you can verify, you can cross-check the remaining four options or all the options. So the correct answer will be option C only. Thank you. Okay, now let's discuss the question number 19. The decreasing order of rate of addition of HCl to the following carbonyl compound is. So we know that when we take a carbonyl compound, to that if we add HCl, that is an example of nucleophilic addition reaction. So we know that as far as the nucleophilic addition is concerned, aldehyde will be more reactive towards nucleophilic addition reaction compared to the ketone. That is the general theory, and you know the reasons also, right? There is an extra plus effect group is there in the ketone that decreases the nucleophilic addition, as well as steric hindrance also a factor which decreases the nucleophilic addition on ketones, right? But here we have to focus on several things. The first thing, we know that the HCHO, here it will be the fastest one, right? There is no other plus effect group is there, right? Now what about the second one? This will be the second one because it contains only one CH3 group only. But here competition comes. When we take a benzaldehyde, right? So this ring actually decreasing the positive charge of the carbonyl carbon, means this carbon by resonance. Now when I take this benzaldehyde and acetone, competition starts. Here the plus I effect is there, here the minus R effect is there. So whenever the competition starts, here acetone will be the winner. But here we don't have any acetone there. We have instead of that acetone, CH3, C double bond O, C2H5 only. So if it is acetone, this will be the winner. This will be having more rate towards the nucleophilic addition reaction. But instead of that, one CH3 group is replaced by C2H5. Here the plus I effect dominating over the resonating effect. So the nucleophilic addition reaction rate will be more for this only. Right? Now the fourth one will be this one. What about this one? This is fifth one only because it contains how many rings there? 2 rings are there, right? And thereby very high resonating rate will be there, which decreases the positive charge on the carbonyl carbon, right? So the nucleophilic addition reaction rate will be least for this one only. So that is the correct answer. So the correct answer will be 1 greater than 4 greater than 5 greater than 2, least will be there. The correct answer will be option B. Thank you. Now let's discuss the question number. Okay. Now let's discuss the question number 20, the IUPAC naming, right? So we have a ring there, cyclohexane. It contains 3 groups there, CHO, Br, OH. So first, according to the priority rule, CHO containing carbon, we have to put 1, right? Earlier we followed the lowest summation rule only, that is the lowest sum rule. Lowest sum rule is what? If I go like this, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So where are the remaining substituents? That is 1 plus 2 plus 5. 5 plus 2, 7 plus 1, 8. Right? Now one more possibility is there. If I go like this direction, this is clockwise direction. Now the anti-clockwise direction, if I move now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Correct? So where are the positions? 1 plus 3 plus 6. So 3 plus 6, that is 1, 10. So according to the lowest sum rule, this is the correct answer. But nowadays, we are not following the lowest sum rule also. We simply priority CHO containing carbon, we will put 1. Then not lowest sum rule. Next least position we will find out. If I go like this here now, this is the second position. But if I go like this now, 2, 3. So 3 only next substituent. Here I will get 2. We are not summing up this. Instead of that, we can directly go 1, 2. So there you can show. So 2, 3 like that only you can go. So both cases correct only, both indicating what the same rule only, right? But nowadays we are simply not following the lowest sum rule. Instead of that, 1. Once we fix that, next least number only we are finding out. Now one more rule is there. Whenever the CHO group is connected to a ring, we have to use the term carbaldehyde. Correct? So that also we have to remember. So what about the correct name? You can just go for the option there. 2-bromo, alphabetical order we have to write. So 2-bromo, 5-hydroxy, cyclohexane, carbaldehyde. That will be the correct answer. Similarly, when an amide group is connected to a ring, carboxamide we have to add. Aldehyde na ring na carbaldehyde. Amide group, it is added to or it is linked to a ring. You have to use certain carboxamide. Okay, thank you. Number 21. It is very, very important and very confusing only. So we are given with a complex Mn(CN6) 3 minus. They are asking the number of unpaired electrons. So we have that valence bond theory, but it has some limitations. So whenever they are asking the magnetic moment or number of unpaired electrons, we have to go for the crystal field theory only. So which is a central atom here? Manganese. So manganese electronic configuration, we know that 3d5 4s2 only, right? You have to study all the electronic configuration of 3d, 4d, 5d as well as the lanthanides and actinoids. That is very, very important. You have to study all the electronic configuration, right? So manganese 3d5 4s2, right? But what about the manganese charge here? Minus 1 into 6, minus 6. This has to be plus 3 minus 6 only 3 minus, right? So manganese plus 3 now, you will get the answer as 3d4 4s0. So according to the valence bond theory, CN group, cyanido is a strong field ligand, so pairing up will be happening. But I told you, we have to go for the crystal field theory only, right? So this is an octahedral field only. So T2G and this will be EG. Correct? G is the Gerard symmetry only. It is absent in the case of tetrahedral field. Gerard symmetry is only applicable in the case of octahedral field only. So what about the crystal field theory? Whether the ligand is strong or weak, once we have to fill the 1 electron in T2G, right? 1 electron in T2G. After that only we can consider whether the ligand is strong or weak. Now the cyanido is a strong field ligand, and thereby instead of going up here, that is the delta O is greater than pairing energy, right? When strong field ligand comes there, right? And thereby instead of going here, the next electron will be paired up. So these two electrons will be unpaired only. So that is a very important question. So do not go for valence bond theory. We have to go for the crystal field theory only whenever they ask the magnetic moment or number of unpaired electrons. The ligand is strong, but it doesn't matter. 1, 1, 1, then only pairing up will happen. Therefore, how many unpaired electrons are there? 2 unpaired electrons are there in MnCN6 3 minus. Thank you. Okay, now let's discuss the 22, question number 22, right? That is a simple question only. We are given with different ionization enthalpy values. First ionization, second ionization, third ionization. Then they are asking the valence electrons. Now we have to find out the mention, right? So how many electrons there? So what is the trick? You can feel the sudden jump. It means shell is changing, right? So how to find out the answer there? Here IE1, IE2, there is only slight change only. But after the IE2, means after the removal of the 2 electrons from a shell, the third electron you have to use the 4120 only, right? It means there is a sudden jump is happening. So definitely valence electrons will be 2 only. This is a simple question, right? How to find out very easily? You have to go for the sudden jump. Okay, thank you. Okay, now let's discuss the question number 23. They are asking the number of chiral carbons or stereogenic center or asymmetric center in alpha D plus glucose only, right? So that is a question, the number of chiral carbons in one molecule of alpha D plus glucose here. So when we focus on the open chain structure of glucose, we know that what is the chiral center? A carbon has 4 valencies. These 4 valencies are satisfied by 4 different groups. That is known as a chiral center, right? But the open chain structure of glucose has only 4 chiral centers, but they are not asking the open chain. This is a cyclic chain only, and we know this H, OH, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, fifth carbon, and finally sixth carbon. So this is the structure of alpha they are asking. That is why I put the H on the OH group on the right side. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now, except this CH2OH, the remaining all 5 carbons are having 4 different valencies there, right? So definitely open chain structure if they are asking now 4 chiral centers only, But the cyclic alpha or beta, they are asking now how many chiral centers are there. The chiral centers will be 5. From this picture, it is clear that. Thank you. Okay. Now let's discuss the question number 24. Right. An aqueous solution of 0.01 molar acetic acid has Van Gogh factor of 1.01. pH of 0.01 molar acetic acid solution would be, right? So according to Ostwald dilution law, we know that the concentration of H plus is equal to C alpha. So once we get the value of concentration of H plus, we know what is pH. pH is equal to negative logarithm of concentration of H plus. So is there any way to find out that is the concentration of H plus? Let's do. Suppose CS3COH, if I take CS3CO minus plus H plus. So if initially I take one molecule of this will be 0 and 0, and 1 minus alpha if I take, that is the degree of dissociation, this will be alpha and this will be alpha, right? So what is the I? The number of moles after dissociation and number of moles before dissociation. That is number of moles after dissociation divided by number of moles initially I took, right? So what is the final number of moles? 1 minus alpha plus alpha plus alpha. So alpha will be cancelled. Initial was 1 only. So what is the value of I? So I is equal to 1 plus alpha. So we are given with the I value, that is the 1.01 is equal to 1 plus alpha. Therefore alpha is equal to 1.01 minus 1, that is equal to 0.01. So what is the value of concentration of H plus? Concentration of H plus is equal to C alpha. So what is the concentration given? 0.01 into 0.01. So I can write it as 1 into 10 raised to minus 4. Correct? So once I get the value of concentration of H plus, I can find out the value of pH. Right? So pH is equal to minus log 1 into 10 raised to minus 4. So log 1 is equal to 0. So it becomes 4 log 10, and thereby log 10 is equal to what? Thereby pH is equal to 4. So that is the given answer. That is integer type question. 4 is the correct answer. Thank you. Okay. Let's discuss the final question, right? The question number 25, right? An aromatic compound A, molar mass 126 gram per mole, is soluble in sodium hydroxide and gives a characteristic color with a neutral ferric chloride solution. When heated with the excess acetic anhydride in presence of a small quantity of concentrated H2SO4, it gives a compound having double the molar mass of A. So we know that it has to be a phenolic group there, right? It has to contain a phenolic group there, right? So they are asking how many phenolic groups are there. So imagine if I take one OH group, imagine one OH group, to that I am adding acetic anhydride in presence of concentrated H2SO4. We know that this hydrogen will be replaced by which group? C double bond O CH3 group, correct? So what is the change in mass? We are introducing which group? CH3 C double bond group, right? So CH3 C double bond group I am introducing. So how many carbon atoms are there? 2. So 24 plus 1 oxygen, 16 plus 3 hydrogen. So it is 43. But I am replacing hydrogen by the CH3 C double bond group only, right? So 43 minus 1 because this hydrogen is replaced. So 42 will be there. Now we know that when one hydrogen is replaced by a CH3 C double bond group, its mass will be increased by a quantity of 42. Now based on that only we can find out. Now you imagine if my compound has, simply imagine 3 OH groups. You can put wherever you want these 3 OH groups, right? Now you find out the molar mass. And whenever I am adding the acetic anhydride in presence of concentrated H2SO4, suppose this molar mass is 126 now, these 3 hydrogens will be replaced by C double bond O CS3 group, right? C double bond O CS3, C double bond O, C double bond O CS3. Correct? So when I introduce one CS3 C double bond O group, its molar mass will be increased by 42. So here 142, here 142 increase, here also 142 increase. Right? Why not 43? Because one hydrogen is replacing, right? So 42 into 3, it means 126. So initially I had 126. After replacing 3 hydrogen by 3 CH3C double bond group, 126 plus 126, that is double the molar mass of A. So these statements indicating that how many phenolic groups or OH groups we have on the ring. So we have 3 phenolic groups there. So the correct answer will be, which is the correct answer? 3. Integer type only 3. So question number 25 also over. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.